Hi, it's Craig Veroni with RE/MAX Masters Realty, and welcome to My Favorite Humans in Vancouver, Episode 3. Here's some questions for you. Did you know that 1 in 5 children in BC live in food insecure households? That approximately 200,000 children in BC live in poverty? And BC is the only province without a poverty reduction strategy. Here on the North Shore alone, there are over 2,000 at-risk households. Well, I had no idea about any of this until just a few years ago when I met Joanne Griffiths and Emily Ann Griffiths, who started Backpack Buddies because they realized it and saw a desperate need in our city with children going hungry. When I was told that there were children attending the same school that my child attends who were going hungry on a daily basis and over the weekend, that killed me. And it was the same reaction that Joanne and Emily Ann had, and the reason they started Backpack Buddies. So let's go meet Joanne and Emily Ann and hear the Backpack Buddies story.
My name is Joanne Griffiths, and I am the co-founder of the Backpack Buddies program, and this is Emily Ann King. She's my daughter, and she has helped us get to where we are today. Backpack Buddies is an organization that fills the weekend hunger gap for vulnerable kids in our inner city schools. We started off interviewing one of the outreach workers at Grandview, which is a school on the downtown east side, and I said to her, if you had a wish of anything that you could, the need that you could fill for your kids in your school, what would it be? And she said, filling the weekend hunger gap. Because during the week, the school programs feed the kids breakfast and lunch, and then they give them a snack before they go home. But on Friday afternoons when kids go home, they often don't eat till they come back on Monday morning when school programs resume.
When she brought the idea to me, I decided to take a look around in the space to see what organizations were out there that were addressing the weekend hunger gap. And at the time, 6 years ago now, there was no one, especially on the downtown east side where this all really began for us. There was no one feeding kids like in a really comprehensive way Saturdays and Sundays. So, we identified that need and decided that there was a void and we were going to try to do something. We initially started with going to my old high school where, we knew that there was the ability to give, and it was a very generous school environment for me growing up, and there was lots of fundraising activities we always participated in. So we went up to the administration and told them about our idea and hit a little bit of a roadblock. So we sort of deked around them and engaged some students and one teacher in particular, and pitched them with the idea. We brought them down to an inner city school and we really showed them the issue and let them meet some of the kids that we were trying to help, and that fired up the students so much, and they went back to the school administration and said, well, we're going to do this, we're going to hold a fundraiser and we're going to start this program. And yeah, that's really humble beginnings.
The next step was to engage other donor schools in our program. One of our taglines is Kids Helping Kids. So we started to go to different schools on the North Shore to get them involved in the program as well. And we've ended up with a bunch of different schools on the North Shore that help us fundraise, pack bags, and then help us get them to the different parts of the city that we need to deliver them.
So the very first week, we delivered 20 backpacks to Grandview Elementary on the downtown east side. So now we are delivering just over 2,400 backpacks every month, and we have 18 schools who donate to our program and 17 who are receiving it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's really kids helping kids.
Kids Helping Kids.
It is. That's very much, it's our mandate, it's our philosophy, and it started really quite organically. But it's something that we've held really firm to as we've grown over the years. For us, it's really very important to have that component of engaging kids that come from the ability to give and teaching them about empathy and the community around them and really empowering them to make a change for children just like them sometimes down the street. Every school that we work with fundraises in a little bit of a different way, and we really leave that up to the donor schools because schools all operate very differently. So they set a target for themselves, which is typically anywhere from 15 to sort of 30 backpacks on a bi-weekly basis, and the schools either fundraise dollars or they food drive. So if they have food drives, they bring in really particular items that we provide them a list for. So that ensures consistency across our bags. And if they raise money, then we work with our amazing partners at Save On Foods to buy the food for them to fill the bags at a greatly reduced cost. So it's sort of one of two ways, but ultimately the students are in charge of that fundraising as well as filling the bags. One of the biggest hurdles that we face when it comes to fundraising is First and foremost, we have to really educate people about the issue. Often people are very surprised when we tell them that 1 in 5 children in our province live in food insecure households, and that British Columbia has the highest child poverty rate in the country for the last 8 years. And on top of all of that, we're the only province in our country without a poverty reduction strategy in place. So I think first and foremost, it's about telling people about the severity of the issue and that it's not localized to the downtown east side, which is where most people think that that issue kind of lives in isolation because it's more visible, but that's simply not the case. It's all over the North Shore, and it stretches from here to the valley and all across our province. And a lot of the time, we hear stories about people who've got kids donating to our program, and they discover that their child is helping their neighbor that they didn't realize was in a situation where there was this need. So it's getting people to understand the issue and then really engaging them in being part of the solution.
Joanne, tell us about your partnership with our REMAX group and how that started.
The partnership with REMAX started with 2 old school friends going out for a glass of wine one evening. My dear friend Denise Salmon, who I have known since high school and who is a REMAX manager here in West Vancouver, I was telling her about the program that we were doing, Backpack Buddies, and how we were looking for some more involvement from some community groups. And the next thing I know, I had a meeting with Deb Upton, who is the West Side REMAX owner, and Emily Ann and I went and talked with her and she said to us actually, what is your list of 3 things? And we told her what our list of 3 things was. And lo and behold, this was the first thing on the list. And about 3 months later, we're tooling down the road in our amazing Backpack Buddy mobile. And the second thing on our list was storage, of which the REMAX Realtors have fundraised, and we have purchased these 2 containers, and they are our storage unit and packing facility that we use. And that was Denise's connection to Deb that started this whole thing.
The more we do, the more need we're seeing, and the more that we're in these communities, the more schools are calling us and saying that they have children who are hungry as well. So it's about trying to continue to grow constantly for us, but also maintain the quality of what we're doing and the integrity, and making sure that what we're doing is sustainable, so that we're not delivering bags to school one week and we're not there the next week. So really growing in a thoughtful way so that we can ensure that we're reliable for those students who we're trying to support. We have 2 vans on the road, and they are busting at the seams, I would say, as our storage containers here. So that's something for us right now. With our plans to grow, we really have to figure out what that's going to look like, because we need more vehicles, we need more volunteers, we need another driver on the road, and more storage space. It's a great problem to have that we're growing so quickly, but it's a lot of logistics that need to get worked out.
Ladies, I'd love to hear, because you've been doing Backpack Buddies for 6 years now, I'd love to hear what keeps you going, what gets you up in the morning, what's been one of the biggest eye-openers for you during the 6 years, what's been one of the biggest successes for you. Speak a little about that.
And there's a lot that I think gets us up out of bed every morning and continuing to do this, but I think really for me, it's sort of that human connection that you make with the people that you're supporting, and it could be on the donor end and it could be on the recipient end, but you can go a couple of months of just grinding away and challenge after challenge and wondering what we're doing and is it making a difference, and then you go and you speak to a 6-year-old who's told you prior to Backpack Buddies all she'd have all weekend would be water, and you have those moments that kind of bring you back to why we started this, and that we're making a difference, we're having an impact. It's our little piece that we're trying to contribute and leave behind here. I'm immensely proud of it.
The last 6 months we've really gained traction in the community. We have all of a sudden become almost a household name. If you go to a lot of places now and talk about Backpack Buddies, people have heard about us. Oh yeah, we have Backpack Buddies in our school. Oh yeah, I've donated to Backpack Buddies. It's just one of those things that eventually you get the credibility in the community with donors, and they trust us to know that we're doing the best with what they donate, and the schools trust us in getting the backpacks to the kids, and it's just a really awesome feeling. I guess what motivates me is seeing the vulnerability in children and seeing how sometimes as adults we don't actually put them ahead of our needs. And I think it's so important that people in the community support those families and children that really do need the help. It takes a village to to raise a child, and we are part of that village. Yes, family is extremely important to me, and the partnership that we've had together has really grown our relationship. I have 4 kids in total, 3 boys and a girl. I have 2 grandchildren, 2.5 and 3 months old boys. Emily Ann is going to give me a granddaughter in the middle of May, and then my other son Simon is going to give me another grandson around June 4th. So we have an ever-expanding family, and it's all good, and I refuse to let them call me Grandma, so I am known as JoJo. I've grown up on the North Shore. I went to Hillside. As I said, Denise and I went to high school together. It's an amazing community. It's a great place to be, and it's a great place to be from, and it's a great place to call home.
So I suppose I get my enthusiasm from family from her.
Can't help it, right?
No, I get it, yeah. Now I'm at that stage in my life where I'm growing my own family, and working with kids on a daily basis through our program has been really important and meaningful in my life, but I think it's going to have a whole new level of meaning as I welcome my first child into the world. There's a few ways that people can get involved. So our website is a really great place to start. We have a section there called How to Support. And if you're a student, there's a guidebook for you that you can download, a PDF, if you want to get your school involved. If you're an individual, there's a similar guidebook for you. And if you're a corporation, we have one as well. So you can go onto our site, you can download that information and kind of get a better understanding of what we do and what a commitment would be from any of those sort of perspectives. And as well, if you just want to volunteer, we have a link on our site where you can enter your email, and each and every time we need people to come and support packing bags or sorting product and inventory or coming out and delivering, we'll email you and let you know about the opportunity.
I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of My Favorite Humans in Vancouver, and I certainly hope this will motivate you to go to the Backpack Buddies website and donate to this incredible organization and wonderful people doing such amazing things, necessary things in our community. Because it's not just here in North Van or Vancouver, there are so many other cities around Metro Vancouver that Backpack Buddies services. And it's important that we all help this organization continue to do this important work. I hope you have a great day. And remember, this is where you live, love, own Vancouver. See you next time.
Backpack Buddies is the best!